Greetings, everybody. Sandy Day back again with Beyond School Bells. I wanted to thank you again for considering test driving the content that we've been developing since, well, pretty hardcore since really January of 2020. And it's a good thing because we have a need for it, right? So the one I want to talk about today is called CityBuild 2040. And it's a little bit, again, I'll tell you how the club was set up, and you could use it, you could use this concept in any way you see it fitting in your site. But it was set up as a weekend competition, although it's a friendly competition. So for students K6-ish, but I could see this going K-12, frankly. Yeah, okay. So what is it about? It is about in 2040, what is the vision of the community in which you live? What is the vision you have? Little Sandy Day, you sixth grader, what is the vision that you have for your community? What do you want it to look like? And I think of all the projects that I've worked on so far for Beyond School Bells, this one has such a special place in my heart because being a former social studies teacher, there was nothing more exciting and engaging to watch than middle school kids who are seeing a social injustice and knowing that they can fix it, or at least believing that they could have a hand in fixing it. And so I think there's a huge opportunity with this particular unit to step back a minute first and say, how do we in after school, or do we in after school, address service learning? Because that's really what, in my mind, that's really the essence of this unit. Because you're asking students to look around their community, find what's wrong, and then write it. So if I was going to do this unit, and man, I'd love to, what I would do, whether or not I'm live or virtually, if I was live with my club, I would load up a bus. Well, you know, all that stuff, you have to do permission slips, order the bus, you know, all that rigmarole. Anyway, I would take my kids on a tour. It may take more than one day too. Take them on a tour to take a look at their community, because let's face it, it's possible that little Sandy Day from North Omaha never went to South Omaha, never saw what West Omaha looks like, let alone been really all that close to the river. So if this was my unit, I would make sure that kids see their town, see their community, and then each day there would be some sort of debrief of what did you see, what did you think was great, what did you see that you thought needs to change. Okay, so that's the essence of service learning, looking around, is there an issue, doing some research, and then making action happen. So if you're not a service learning person, I want you to know that I did a little background for you. And the National Youth Leadership Council, in conjunction with the Mott Foundation, created these 3 guides. They're basically the same guide, but it's developmentally appropriate for K4, 5-8, I want to say, and 9-12. And I put those 3 PDFs in the same repository where you'll find the CityBuild 2040 playbook, we're calling it, because again, you'll see how this was laid out. But if you were doing this in a regular club environment, you'd make some modifications so that you'd take little teeny tiny chunks and steps. You wouldn't be able to do 2 full 8-hour days in a row. And plus, I just think that the deeper learning could happen on a quarter basis. So it could be, I could see this taking a full 9-week quarter to get through. So anyway, but the cool thing about those PDFs, and I'll show them to you in a minute, is that it's not like solving world hunger or solving an environmental problem. What they did, and it's brilliant, they identified the steps, the processes for any service learning unit. It doesn't matter, you know, what it is. And actually step 1 is having the kids do just what I talked about, and that is look around their community and see what's wrong and and then the research, how do we write it, and then the action step, here's what it could look like. So let me share my screen so that we can get into some of this stuff, and I'll give you Is that where I want to be? We'll find out. This is not where I want to be. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to go somewhere else. I love it when I get lost. It's just so fun. Da, 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 da. There we go. Okay, so again, we've talked about this before, that this content is all in, it's in my drive right now, my LLC drive for my consulting business, but soon it will be up on the Beyond School Bells website. And my hope is that when it is up there, it is in a folder called CityBuild 2040. And I'm sure it will be, because like how else would they do it? And so inside that folder are these 3 PDFs I was talking to you about, and it's called Engage. So I just want to show you what it looks like. And again, this is a roadmap, really. Yeah, believe it or not, 77 pages long. The brilliance is in the first few pages, trust me. This is a roadmap of how to do any service learning project. And it is really starting out with what is service learning, and then a little bit about this handbook. But basically it talks about the steps that you do. You identify your needs, you identify who all is in the room to solve this problem, and then what is the process for service learning. Sorry about that noise, my dog is drinking. And then developing some questions for each day to solve the issues that they're finding. Okay, so, and again, so these are the 3 PDFs depending on what grade level that you have. It's basically the same content, but tweaked for developmentally appropriateness. Okay, so here's the CityBuild 2040 playbook. And again, it's going to look way different from the majority of the content that we've got in this repository right now, because it was designed with a different model in mind. This is a 25-page document that talks about a 2-day event. And in fact, I want to show you, close your eyes, I don't want to make you dizzy. I want to show you what they envision this event to look like. Here we go. One of the documents, supporting documents, is a sample agenda, so towards the end of the actual unit. And then it talks about what everything could look like half hour by half hour. And so there's day 1, there's day 2, which would be the very next day. And then I guess it does wrap up around lunchtime. Okay, cool. So, and then again, there's additional documents that help you think about this if it's a 2-day blitz or whatever. Regardless, you would be doing these steps in your own site, like what do we need for this to be done in this particular site for after school learning. Let me get back to the top. Close your eyes, don't want to make you sick. Okay. So, so basically, what is the challenge? The challenge really is for kids to look around their community, see what is wrong, and then see it, first of all. Then there's some research, in my opinion, that needs to be done. So let's say kids are in the bus and they've seen homeless people, and they're like, well, that's not right. This is America, for Pete's sake. We can fix this. So I would suggest that we do a little bit of research, internet research, on homelessness. If you can get it drilled down to your community, that's most perfect. But even if you could do statewide, community-wide, regionally, or statewide statistics, that would be good, because we're Nebraskans, we're all in this thing together. I'm not really sure exactly how specific, let's say, a smaller community would have data and have it published on their citywide website regarding homelessness. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds there so that we lose the point. So what's the issue? Do a little bit of research, brainstorm what could possibly be done, go do more research to find cities who are doing something about it, or communities that are doing something about it. And then with one of these models that you found, vote on one, then what does it look like? And that's the actual CityBuild competition, however long you want that to be. Okay, so I'm not gonna read all of this to you, but there's a couple other things I do wanna point out to you. I did not write this guide, but I want you to know I think this guide is really well done. It does a fabulous job of thinking of all of the what ifs and all of the what things do I need to have in place before we actually get this thing rolling. One of the things that I really like that they did, and anybody who writes this content is the number of times they've looped in community experts. I would suggest that you do that. If you do this unit, definitely loop in your city or county experts to, if for nothing else, come out and take a look at the project when it's all done. But it's very powerful, and I know you know this. It's very powerful when people in your community come in and validate what it is kids have seen with their own eyes. That to me is some really, really solid learning, some very authentic learning, things they will never forget, and probably things they will always look back on even as they're my age and think that's something that made a difference in my life. Okay, just a couple more things I wanted to share with you. I like, I can't remember where it's at, darn it. Go, close your eyes. It's towards the end. Here we go. Oh, open your eyes. Okay. And again, CLCs is my background. And if I were doing this unit, I would definitely have a family night when it was what they're suggesting as a community showcase, which I say, yes, do that as well. But I would definitely show this to parents and invite community members at that time, and then have the kids have the opportunity to stand up in their small groups or however they tackled their city. You may, and this guide suggests that you may want to take your 30 kids or whatever they are, 18 kids, and break them up into teams, maybe teams that would want to work on roads and construction, teams that want to work on having community gardens here and there, medical access, that sort of stuff. And then when they share out at the end at the community showcase, it would be cool if the kids could stand together and talk as a team about what they did to tackle the problem they were dealing with in their particular component of their city. I don't know if you had the opportunity to see the video for the original CityBuild, which was done in Norfolk. I believe it was done, I want to say 2 years ago. Oh, don't quote me on that. Anyway, there was a great video that was shared at Get Connected 2019. And I know that's on the website here. We'll try to make sure that we get it into the same folder. But it's a really good visual for kids to see how they can make an impact. Not saying that it has to look exactly like that, but just getting them to see themselves in the process and see themselves solving the problem, I think is very helpful. Again, sorry about the noise. That's my golden retriever getting more drinks. He just went on a walk. It's complicated. Okay. All right. I'm going to stop sharing right now, and I'm just going to say this. Please remember, all of this content, CityBuild 2040 is no exception, is free for you to use. We only ask that at the conclusion of that use that you help us out to make this better. Our goal is to make it engaging, fun, for the kids, really authentic learning, and also for the facilitators that are helping. We want to make this easy. Let us know what needs, that's that final fifth and final question. First, for our Likert scale questions, 1 to 5, was this fun? Was this easy to understand, etc. But number 5 is open-ended. Please give us any sort of suggestion on how to make this better so that we can improve it for the next team to use it. And also, if you don't have my email address, it is sday@nebraskachildren, all one word, .org. And if you do have an email from me, all of my contact information, except my physical address, which you don't need, unless you're coming to Omaha, we could get together and say hi, is on the bottom of my email. In my signature, there's my phone number and also my Zoom address. Please don't hesitate to reach out if there's anything I can do to help you problem solve, get over a challenge, even just get some feedback on something. I'm here to help out. Please take care. Hope you're all good and everything is nothing but better, and onward and upward. Bye, everybody.